Okay, everybody, we should have the recordings going up. Alright. Still messing around with a lot of the settings on here, so I'm still not 100%. But welcome to our Thursday Night Live. I've got, what do we have today? So, this week that we had some stuff come out, the big thing, I think, is, well, actually, it was all me this week. So, if you really love the dulcet sounds of my voice, this week's podcast stuff is all about me. Well, it's all about other people, but I'm the one who conducted the interviews. So we have, excuse me, just ate a bunch of cheese. So we have a interview with a gentleman named Fred Wellman, FP Wellman on Twitter. Fred is a former public affairs. He did other things and then came into public affairs a little bit later in his military career. And we're talking about a ridiculous thing from the Modern War Institute, which, if you're not aware what the Modern War Institute blog is, it is, hey Cindy, the Modern War Institute is the official blog, I suppose, of West Point. West Point is the Army, officer military academy where all of the best officers come from, so they say. So Chase Spears wrote this thing. I believe he's a major in his public affairs about how, and we haven't done any, the Pentagon hasn't done any press briefings in about 300 days, more than 300 days at this point. And obviously, information comes out, but, not doing the formal press briefings is a little questionable. So he has this whole thing about, I think he calls it like a two-way street or some shit like that, and he wants to make it out to be that, the reason why people aren't, doing this, that the Pentagon isn't doing this, is because you darn journalists out there with your not getting things 100%, factually correct all the time. And of course brings up things like Stormy Daniels, which is news. I don't know what his thing was there, but also the Covington Catholic kids staring down the Native American drummer. So, it's ridiculous. I mean, as public affairs, it doesn't matter. I've been public affairs for 19 years at this point. I've done it in a couple of different countries. My entire career has been public affairs. And then to read this major, who I can only assume has not been in as long as I have, or not been doing this as long as I have, because like I said, day one, nothing private, I've been public affairs. What's up, Data? So, reading this, and of course, as a leftist, politically, and as somebody who would, the thing is, I know I'm a leftist, I'm a leftist, but when it comes to public affairs stuff, we're neutral, because there's none of that. There's no reason for any of that shit. So I don't, do any of that, political bullshit when I'm doing my job, when I'm in a military function. Because you're not supposed to. That's, day one, your bias goes to the side. So, the good major decided that he's going to just, say whatever the fuck he wants. And say, that it's the media's fault that they're not doing this. Which is fucking ridiculous. So I brought Fred on because Fred was mad about it just as much as I was mad about it. And we had a good conversation going back and forth yelling about how much of a dick this major is. Well, I don't want to say that, but just how incorrect he is, and how he's probably not a very good public affairs officer, because he's under the impression that journalists should be banging the door down at fucking Fort Riley, Kansas, which is the asshole of Kansas, a place that I'm going very soon. Very excited about that. Maybe I'll run into him. Maybe he and I we'll talk public affairs. Call me. So we'll, so Fred and I talked about it, and then we also talked about how, it seems like no matter, somebody can put something out like that, and then we, as, people online, can be like, this is really dumb, and you're dumb for posting this, and then all of a sudden there's this, you can't say that, you can't be mean, he's putting himself out there, he's doing this, there's, for some reason I'm supposed to feel good about him doing this. What's up, Jenko? I'm supposed to feel good about somebody who's got the balls to go out and be incredibly wrong online, which is fine because I've been incredibly wrong online a lot, and then people yell at me, and then I'm corrected. conservatives, like I said, conservatives have the thinnest fucking skin whatsoever, and it's always going to be, they're crying and whining about everything, and but they want to feel like they're hot shit because they're in the military or they own guns. So for the most part, they're all idiots. So yeah, there's a good interview with me and Fred going back and forth. That's on the free one. Also on our free episode is myself and Amber Mathwig. Amber is, she has a podcast, Unauthorized Absence, which is kind of in a hiatus at the moment because Amber is one of those people who's like actually doing things rather than yelling into a microphone. Like she goes out and she does a lot of activism work and does a lot of stuff for people who are veterans and people who are vulnerable, not just veterans. Like she's anybody who needs help. And you should definitely go and listen to her podcast. Even if if you haven't listened to it and you're just catching up on the old stuff, it's great because it's a podcast that's like literally stays away from straight white men. And talks to women, transgender. Of course we do, but not as like Amber is really 100% on that. So Amber got arrested. And I don't want to go too much in the story on here because I want you guys to listen to it. Because I want you to listen to it in her words about everything that happened. But basically, it's campus security at Chapel Hill, North Carolina, were a bunch of dickbags, making people feel unsafe. Conducting unsafe operations, and Amber was just like, the fuck, you guys can't do this, and apparently she's been targeted because, anybody who tells authority that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, ends up getting yelled at, and fucking put on a list somewhere, and then, of course, in the end, arrested. So, that's the other half of that episode. So I highly encourage everybody to go and listen, if anything, for Amber's side of it, for Amber's interview, because that was it's like I said, she does a whole lot of really great stuff. Joe Don, I don't know. You say talk about who I think you're talking about. I don't know if you're out at Fort Riley. Maybe if it was about Spears. If it's about Amber Mathwig, that's Tudor Bell on Twitter, so you should go follow her if you're not. Bonus episode this week, I believe we put it up for $3. It is myself and Brian from Street Fight Radio talking about the Netflix original movie, fucking that movie, Triple Frontier with Ben Affleck and Charlie Hunnam and Oscar, I forget his name, the guy who played Poe Dameron in the new Star Wars movies. And and then like two dudes who I don't know. Incredible movie in that it is horrible and stupid, and everybody in that movie is just a massive dipshit. As we call it, huge divorced dad energy, because that is Ben Affleck's entire character, is being a divorced dad and being sad, and his kid just being like, "Why do you fucking suck, Dad? Jesus Christ!" And then he has to go off and like fucking literally do crimes. Like, it's one of those like, oh, it's really nice because they're gonna go take down a drug dealer, right? But they're like doing crimes. And it's, of course, also it's Ben Affleck. So, God, Ben Affleck, like, with kind of a gut, like, that really like, Ben Affleck, I will say this about Ben Affleck and that character. I don't know if, like, Ben Affleck was really phoning it in, and that's just what he looks like now. Or if Ben Affleck was just like, okay, I need to have like kind of a gross beard. I need to sleep only about 4 to 5 hours a night. I need to not do any exercise whatsoever and get kind of a beer gut. And I need to like actually go through a divorce. And then, because he nailed it. I mean, for what it's worth, Ben Affleck was the perfect character. And he very believable as a former soldier. Just like constantly sad and depressed and missing his time in the military with all of his buddies. Of course, in the movie, that fucking gets him killed. I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you, but please, we also spoil it in the movie as well. So, or in the movie review as well. It's not that good of a movie, so you're not really missing out on that much. Besides, it's the journey that gets you there anyway, not necessarily the destination. So what else do we have? So that's what we've got next week. I've got my interview for the main episode. I've got an interview with Cynthia, another one with Nate's wife. That's the one that we end up talking about. Kindred by Octavia Butler, and pretty much everything. Like Kindred is about like a woman who keeps getting slingshotted back like in time. It's got time travel. It's not really science fiction, but science fiction is just kind of a part of it. It's like, look, we need to make this work. I need to be able to send this person back into time to do what I want to do. So we talk about that book, and we spend like the entire. We're going to talk about 2 books, but we spent the entire hour talking about that. So. And as a little preview for the free episode next week, hopefully we're going to be able to do this. The American Conservative wrote this thing, time to bring back mandatory citizen militias, ? And it says the secondary headline is compulsory service defending the nation at home would foster solidarity and give men something to fight for. This whole fucking thing, like I know, there's a lot of arguments to for and against doing the Charlie Hunnam as a J. Peterson. I don't doubt it. Like honestly, that's not a surprise to me. Anyway, there's arguments for and against doing the compulsory service. I understand. I understand if you believe in it. I know Mayo Pete decided to fucking say that maybe we do something like that. Sure. If I thought that we could do that in America and it not, somehow fucking feed into like being cheap labor for somebody who's a massive asshole, or build up American imperialism just without a gun, I would support it, but I don't think we can do that. But this article is just fucking ridiculous for multiple reasons. And we're gonna, I think Nate and I are gonna do a reading series on it. But like this person that they get, who is this? Somebody named Troy. Friend of mine named Troy, a socially conservative, politically libertarian member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. Troy is happily married with 3 children and has been working in the IT field. He feels torn between his desire to serve in the military and his need to continue working a job that supports his family, but leaves him feeling bereft of purpose and masculinity. Holy shit, Troy. Fucking, first off, Troy, you're a member of the LDS. I don't agree with the Church of Latter-day Saints. I don't agree with most religions, but I'm pretty sure that they have like mission work and they have all kinds of things that you can do. Don't they fucking build houses for poor people too? Like, isn't the Church of Latter-day Saints like one of those like active churches? Like maybe they're kind of shitheads with like politically, but like they actually do stuff. Troy wants to go and fucking join the army because he doesn't feel like a man. I'm gonna tell you, man, like, the military doesn't do that for you. The military ain't making you a man, Troy. And if you are missing out on masculinity, you're not gonna find it by getting fucking shot at. And of course, like Troy, he also doesn't. He's like, I want to feel like a man, but I also don't really agree with the things that the military is doing. Like, well, guess what, buddy? I mean, that's not going to help you any. That's just going to fucking leave you feeling worse off and more morally bereft. So there's all kinds of stuff in this, and Nate and I are going to go through it because it is just, he doesn't want his body to atrophy and like, oh, how I'm dying at this, like, this desk job here, working in IT. Fucking guess what, dude? I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, and I work a desk job in IT, and I make better money, and people aren't trying to fucking kill me. So, I'm going to go ahead and say that this, that job is way better than anything that the military has ever offered me. So, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. This will be up on, you can watch it here, I'll throw it up on YouTube as well. Feel free to, subscribe to us on YouTube because that really helps us out there. We're trying to build more of a YouTube presence, is, why I do a lot of these on here. I'll post to YouTube as well, but you can search us. What a hell of a way to, it's, youtube.com/c/what a hell of a way to die, and you'll find us there. We also put all of our main episodes up there too. So we do a lot. We wanna fucking push socialism out to the kids as much as humanly possible. Feel free to get us on Patreon as well. We have all of our bonus content. We always do audio stuff every week. Audio bonus stuff. We're doing a newsletter, a zine that's going to hopefully be coming out next month. When I say hopefully, that doesn't, that means just, can I get enough stuff to put into it and to get it sent out? And even if it's only a 4-page one or an 8-page or something small, if we start small, that's fine. Hit me up on Twitter here at Army Strang, or shoot me an email, sergeantjoker@whatahellofawaytodie.com. And if you have anything that you want to contribute, art or writing or anything like that, please. We're going to be doing it quarterly to start, so we are more than happy to have as many people as possible jump in. So if you're on the Patreon, not only do you get bonus content, you do the $10, you'll get the printout of the zine, and you'll get some extra bonus stuff as well. My Don't Step on Snack patches. We've got our Rock or Something magnets that are going to be going out. It's right there. So all kinds of good stuff, and like I said, we're going to be doing that quarterly. So all the money that you give to us at the $10 basically goes into me buying stuff and doing printing and doing layout and design, doing editing and sending it out. So that's why we do that. If you're at the $5 level, you'll get that digitally. Probably if you're at any level, we'll end up doing it digitally, and then like later on, just giving it to everybody. I'm sure. We're not gonna like password protect it or anything. So we want your money, obviously, but also like we don't want to put everything behind a paywall, especially when it's people giving us art. Donating their art to us. We want to make sure that everybody has access to that in one way or another. So I think that's all that I have for you this week. We will talk to you next week. Thank you so much for watching and listening and doing everything that you do so that we can do everything that we do. We wouldn't be here without the fans, obviously. So we appreciate you being fans. Thank you, and talk to you next week.